Hi you guys, it is Stacy, your holistic nutritionist. I am hopping on this week. It's our second week in the 2022 YouTube series. So last week we talked about how we want to focus on health and different health aspects to gain results in weight loss, and not just focus on weight loss, but focus on other things as well. I touched briefly on how you wanted to heal your body and remove toxins as much as possible. So what I want to do in this video today is briefly just go over what are some of the toxins that I look for when I look at a nutrition label. So with that being said, I'm going to dive right into it with what are some of the top things that I look for on a nutrition label. So one of the first things that I look at when I am looking at a nutrition facts label is added sugars. So there will be a line that says total sugars, and then underneath that, if there are any added sugars, it will say added sugars and how many grams per serving. So total sugars encompasses the added sugars plus natural sugars that are just in everyday food. So if the product has something like fruits or something like that in it, carbs, it is going to have natural sugars in there, and those are okay. We do need some natural sugars in our diet. It is the line below that, the added sugars, that I want to look out for. So what we have to remember is that this is not total per product, that this is per serving. So when I look at added sugars, I want to see how much is in there. I want it to be as close to zero, if not zero, if possible. What I say is try to have it 0 to 4 grams per serving. So that would mean that the added sugars is 0 to 4. If it's something like 7, 11, 25, you really want to avoid those products. Added sugar has no purpose in our body. It is also known as refined sugar. So it's highly processed and it's taken out a lot of nutrient value, and it just does damage to your body, often known as empty calories as well. So it just has no benefit to our body. Like I said, we do need those natural sugars, but those added sugars are not needed in our body and can cause a lot of damage. And as we're working on healing our body, we want to remove those as much as possible. So the next item on my list has become a little bit more popular, which is why I'm going to talk about it today, and that is BPA. So a lot of times we think that it just comes in the containers that we're buying, water bottles, storage containers, things like that. But it can also come in the cans that you are buying products from. So if you're buying like canned tomatoes or anything like that, BPA can be in that can. Why we want to be aware of this is because it is a huge hormone disruptor. So BPA mimics estrogen and goes into those receptors, which can disrupt our natural hormone processes. So we want to avoid those as much as possible. There's a lot of scientific research behind the damage that BPA can do. And I'm so happy that it is becoming more aware, and that products and companies are starting to take that out of their products. But that is something that you want to look out for in the containers you're purchasing and in the foods you're purchasing. So if you're buying any canned foods, just make sure that there's no BPA in the can. So the next item I'm going to talk about is refined oils. So when we're talking about refined oils, these are vegetable and seed oils. So it's food products that naturally does not have an oil or fat substance to it. So we are chemically taking it out, and it's highly processed. So these could be very inflammatory to the body. A lot of times when we think of inflammation, we just think of like joint pain, pain overall. Inflammation could be at a cellular level, and it could disrupt our body's natural functions. So we want to reduce inflammation as much as possible. So we want to reduce refined oils as much as possible. So when you're looking at your nutrition labels, look in the ingredients section for these refined oils. They're going to be things like sunflower oil, safflower oil, cottonseed oil, soybean oil, things like that we want to avoid at all costs. So you may find once you start doing this that a lot of our processed food and products, packaged foods, have these oils in it because they are usually at a cheaper cost for companies to use. So what oils do we want instead? You want to find products that use avocado oil, that use coconut oil, or that use olive oil. So these are great oils to use in when you're buying products, to find products using. They are more heat stable. We'll talk about olive oil in a little bit, but avocado, coconut oil are more heat stable, and they have a better ratio of omega-6s and 3s. So that's something else that we're looking for when we're looking in refined oils. So when I say heat stable, every oil has a heat stability point. So more so when you're cooking at home or you're buying a product that you know you're going to cook, you want to make sure that the oil that's being used in it or the oil you're using at home is heat stable. I mentioned before, olive oil is a great oil to use. It is a great oil, but you don't want to heat it. It has a really low heat stability point, whereas avocado and coconut oil have a higher heat stability point. So those two oils, mainly avocado oil, just because taste-wise, I'm not a huge fan of the sweet coconut. I love cooking with avocado oil. So if you don't cook with it and you're still cooking with the vegetable oils at home, make that transition, and it's going to help reduce inflammation at a cellular level and help start healing your body. So another thing that I look out for is trans fats, and this will be on your nutrition fact label as trans fats. Fun fact, trans fats are technically banned in the US, but with that being said, if there's less than or equal to 0.5, so half a gram of trans fats per serving, they could label it as 0 trans fats. So even though something says 0 trans fats, maybe on the label, you want to look at that nutrition facts and see if there's any trans fats in it. Because if it is a half a gram per serving, but you're eating multiple servings, that's going to add up over time, especially if you're using the product more frequently. If not every day, every other day, it will still add up. So that's one thing you want to look for. These are common, most common in like packaged foods, processed foods, baked goods, margarines, any type of, I can't believe it's not butter, fake butters, things like that. You want to check to make sure that it has 0 content of trans fat. Basically what a trans fat is, it is pumped with hydrogen and chemically changed so that it could become a solid. So it's not its true form, and it can do a lot of damage, cause a lot of inflammation. There's a lot of research behind that. So that's one other thing that you want to look out for in the nutrition facts. So this is just briefly talking about some easy toxins to start looking out for. There's a lot more, unfortunately, in our foods and personal care products that could be damaging to your body, but I find that these are the most common and easier ones to look out for when you're buying food products and cooking and things like that. So if you start checking your nutrition label, start checking your ingredients, and making sure you're eliminating these 4 things as much as possible, you're going to start feeling a lot better. Not only are you going to start feeling a lot better, but your body will be able to work more efficiently and it'll start healing on its own. So I hope this was helpful. Remember, this is not all the toxins. This is just tipping our toes into it. We'll talk more about it during this series, but I just wanted to give you guys a brief summary, and I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you guys next week.